I'll do the whole thing about it.
Indian chairs and whatever.
Hello and welcome back to the only wrestling podcast that exclusively rebooks, reviews and reimagines the worst of wrestling's past. We are Better Call Creative, and as ever I am joined to my left by, I don't want to give away some of them, so I'm just going to call you Jack. That's your name. Hello, Jack.
Hello.
And I'm going to call you Sam. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
And we are dusting off the Wrestlecup again for the month of August, but we are going back to the 90s. Because everything was better in the 90s, except for wrestling gimmicks. Because, God, there was some shit ones. And we're going to be deciding between us, of the 32 worst, in my opinion, wrestling gimmicks, which is the worst. I bet you've got a few running through your head, Jack.
I'd be surprised if there ain't a giant bull in this.
He might appear.
Yeah, you can probably guess.
Is there anyone in particular you think may appear, Sam?
I don't know. I think if a certain sport was on strike, then there's a certain gimmick that appears.
Well, we might find some sporting gimmicks as well,
Yeah,
but
or a tennis player, wasn't it?
not yet. No
Not yet.
convinced ideas.
Oh,
But we have decided amongst us that if, and we've got to be honest, we've got to make sure we do it properly.
We didn't have any say in it.
But whoever wins this Wrestlecup will get a prolonged episode. I think it would be fair and right that if someone wins a prestigious cup like the Wrestlecup,
And it's our gimmick.
yes, that they get.
If it's Mabel, we've been on too many.
Unfortunately, Mabel didn't make it, which probably sums up how bad the gimmicks are. But we are opening, and honestly, they're all Brazil versus France, these matches. We're opening with Damien Demento from the deepest parts of his mind. Is that what he was? That was his gimmick, wasn't it?
Deepest, darkest parts of your mind.
Yes, versus Rockabilly.
Rockabilly.
So yes, we've got 93 versus 96. 97.
Yeah.
We've got one person who's in the Hall of Fame and Damien Demento. So I think we'll...
Daddy ass.
Yes. I mean, it's not... Admittedly, we get worse, but yeah, they're not exactly the best gimmicks.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw to you first, Jack, I think.
I'm going to go with Demento. Purely because I know it's dark, but I don't really know what it is. I still don't know. I've had 30 years to figure it out. I still ain't really sure what his gimmick is.
Yeah, is it just that he's demented and he talks to himself?
I assume so. He talks to himself. He's got this big weird garb and he's got
Yeah,
this soft hair.
I don't get that. What the fuck is that?
The big garb
The
thing.
fucking...
It's like he's eating him.
the fucking
Or like
Stranger Things
the
gig.
mouth's just opened and he's
He's
just
gonna
popped
come
out.
out.
Hello.
It just looks like Stranger.
If I only could make a deal with it.
Apparently he was just mad. That was part of the reason why Vince looked at him and just went, well, he's a fucking madman. We'll just make him a madman.
Oh.
But are you going for Demento?
Yeah, I'd have gone with Demento.
How
Because
come
I think for
WCW
Rockabilly, we
then?
kind of know what it was. It was a protege for Honky.
I suppose that's true as well, because in fairness, are we criticising Rockabilly or are we criticising Honky? So I would have
Well,
gone.
that should have been Savio, apparently.
Don't ever.
Savio was going to be the protege for Honky, not
You what? Who come up with that?
Honky. Honky said apparently that was going to have Savio instead of Rockabilly.
Fuck off, Honky. So yeah, Damien Demento.
Savio.
No, I have been there. Damien Demento would have got my vote as well, so it flies through.
What?
Number two, match two. It's WCW. It's Arachnaman.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh,
Arachnaman.
Bootleg spider.
God, of
Bootleg
course.
killer
Spider-Man versus Isaac Yankem, the wrestling
which one's
dentist.
worse, Spider-Man or the dentist?
So, Sam, who are you deciding is worse? Is it Jim Hearn's attempt at being Marvel and then being sued immediately and having to stop it?
Hang on a minute. Come on, man.
Or is it Vince's, I don't like going to the dentist, he will make a heel dentist?
But he's got bad teeth.
I'm actually going to go with Arachnaman because how do you think you're going to get away with this? Really?
I'm going to make it interesting. I agree with you. Arachnaman is probably the worst gimmick, but Arachnaman's never fought Brett at SummerSlam, whereas there will always be a wrestling dentist on the biggest show. Well, the second biggest show. Is that?
Britt Baker.
Oh, that's true.
So yeah, he got bad teeth.
Yeah.
And she is actually...
And really weird curly blonde hair.
And the wrestling dentist is a... No one likes the wrestling dentist anymore.
No, because he's not.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I'm choosing.
No,
Isaac
all right,
Yankem
then.
as
I
well.
agree with you in that sense. Yeah. I agree with you in that
So
sense.
it's down to you, Jack, to make.
I'm going to give Yankem because, Arachnaman is just a comedy, kids gimmick.
He's
Send it out for the kids. He pulled up. What? No, he was one of the Armstrongs. Wasn't he?
Yeah, it was Brad Armstrong. Who was Candyman for it?
Eh?
Was he the Candyman as well?
He was the Candyman. He was
What's that?
fucking Bad Street. He threw sweets
That
out.
was it.
I think somebody hear the
He
film
wore a
Candyman
mask.
and
Yeah.
got it completely wrong.
No, I think it was Willy Wonka.
Call him that.
Jim wanted to
Jim
create
Heard,
this thing where kids could get like
He basically
sweets.
wanted to be in WWE.
He could have called
He
him
made him. He made
the
him.
Wonka Man.
He was Bad Street. He
The
was.
Wonka.
Yeah, it was all that.
The
He was
Wonka.
basically anybody needs to be in a mask. Give
He
Brad
was the
Armstrong.
WCW version of Paul Diamond.
Pretty much, yeah.
Poor Brad.
Poor Brad. The
So
best one of the bunch and put him in a mess.
this is the weirdest match I think in the whole thing, just because you've got to visualize it.
The best.
So it is. Imagine you've got the two tag. You know how they do it in WWF, where they're coming up. You've got on one side the Booty Man, and on the other side Sabasimba. Which I know which is more offensive, but then it is the arse of Brutus as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's most offensive.
PG, Billy Gunn, really.
I think
The man
because.
upset with his own arm.
Because it did get Brutus away from a bad gimmick, which was
Yeah.
almost Brutus's
There's all the
career. Yeah,
You could have had 32 Brutuses.
I could have. Yeah.
Except for one gimmick,
Yeah, and ironically,
which is the one he
I-
said that ruined his
Which
career.
is Brutus.
Yeah,
do you know what he said?
that's what apparently
Yeah.
he said in the shoot. He said it.
I almost want to put him through for that, but I'm going to pick Sabasimba because Christ Almighty, Vince, what are you doing? How is he ever going to get over?
I don't know, but with Piper Coventry and Susan Compton, that worked.
No help with who they chose for the gimmick.
No, but it's hard to believe that
Yeah,
you
it is.
would get over that.
Well, I'm going to go Booty Man.
Oh,
Sabasimba, I know it is offensive in a way, but if you want that style of gimmick, can have it.
yeah, but it is offensive
It's
and
offensive, yes. It's offensive in a sense, yeah.
bad. Yeah. Oh no, I mean,
African tribal
I-
gimmick.
I picked Booty Man as a
But
higher
is
seed.
Kamala offensive? What's the difference?
It's a good point, really. That is
Isn't
probably a fair point.
Isn't he more offensive?
Probably, yes. Yeah, that's probably a fair point. But
It's- I
Sabasimba,
know- Yeah, I know he's shit.
that's Tony Atlas.
Yeah, but he's infatuated with his own butt.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't quite know.
Not even
I suppose
other
if you'd have,
people's butts.
if you'd have booked Sabasimba to be proper savage, you'd say Umaga, you could say the
yeah.
Samoans.
Is
There's
it
a lot.
offensive because it didn't get over?
That's probably fair.
Because it was
Maybe it's more offensive
I-
because it didn't go over. So
He could have been
I'm
the
gonna go with
footman.
Booty Man purely from what he said. It's like Kamala was the same.
yeah.
Really.
Well, Sabasimba,
So-
you're out in the first round, mate.
and
I
it's
thought you might
fucking
win it.
Booty Man. Fuck.
We could
No.
do Sabasimba. You'd only have a rumble, wouldn't we?
You got that 40-man battle royal.
I don't think it was in that.
Well,
I think it was 41st. If there's an injury, you can get him.
our next match is the wrestling ice hockey player. It's the Goon
Yeah, well,
versus, and I thought the Goon. I mean, he's going to be
Should
like
have
a
been Jericho,
quarter-finalist,
apparently.
semi-finalist, easy. Beaver Cleavage.
Oh,
No, Jesus.
fucking
No,
hell.
Jesus Christ.
See, Beaver Cleavage, what's that? Is he? Does he want to shag his own mom? Is
Pretty
Basically,
much.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
Russo.
He's a grown.
But he's
He's
got
Leave it
the
to
twirly
Beaver,
hat
eh?
So yeah, it's leave it to Beaver. He's a grown man
I know,
with a
really.
mind of a
of a
kid,
child.
but for some reason they also made him obsessed with cleavage.
He likes breasts,
And he likes,
but he
being
likes his
breast-
own mom's breasts.
and his mum. I think he's mollycoddled by his mum, so he's still breastfeeding him. Is the sort of,
Oh, he's got a twirly hat though.
but a twirly hat. He's got a better
Is that
look,
the? Is that
Thank
the?
you.
Is that the?
and,
person?
and I think he's probably played by a better
He has
wrestler.
promos as well.
Who?
Beaver Cleavage.
Yeah, it'd be an easy podcast if he wins.
But then it did evolve into where he beat up his missus and he got
Oh.
beat up by everybody else. That's
That-
what it led into after.
That is
And
much
Thrasher
better.
come back and just made him back.
Yeah,
He
Christ.
Hang
had a
on, hang
miscarriage
on.
stage.
Yeah.
See, Goon never had that.
But the Goon wrestled in legitimate ice hockey style things, so he was awful in the ring. Not only did they sort of like saddle him with a gimmick that's really hard to get over,
Yeah.
but then they made it so it was really hard to wrestle. So at least Beaver Cleavage had the opportunity to wrestle in his swirly hat.
I'm going to go for the Goon purely because I think that as much as it's shit Beaver Cleavage, there's at least more leg room to do storylines, whereas the Goon is just an ice hockey player.
Yeah.
What is it? How is he going to have a feud
Well, I think
with a trash man?
the whole Goon thing was in ice hockey. It's the one who just goes out to start
fights,
the fight.
yeah.
So I'll go with Beaver Cleavage because
Because of the hat.
just the whole thing in
No,
general.
it's shit. Yeah, it's very shit.
Yeah,
I think, oh God, it is hard.
How does it help Mosh?
exactly.
Yeah.
Thrasher's injured. This is what we need for Bosch.
I think I'm going to go with Beaver Cleavage because as
Great.
well, I think,
That could have been
It's an
Jericho.
easy podcast.
yeah, it's really easy to edit that. It's only.
And you could do like a Chaz. I don't know his real name.
Oh no, I would.
The
Yeah. Oh no,
podcast.
yeah. If that wins it, we won't just do Beaver
Yeah, because
Cleavage.
we could load
I'll
down
do- I'll
Tiger
do-
Alley singing,
I'll do the whole
throw to
thing
the
about him.
Indian Chaz, whatever.
Excuse me. What? Indian chess?
Going back to
loud,
Elvis.
louder.
Yeah,
Yeah, when was it louder? There you go.
That might appear in the 2000 podcast. videos.
Oh, spoiler.
Next match is a person we have done a podcast on. It's the Kiss Demon. Because it was terrible, let's face it.
What?
But it is facing probably, if you type in worst wrestling gimmicks, it will come up in most. It's the gobbledygooker. It's the archetypal.
Yeah.
It is a bad gimmick.
Guerrero.
Yes.
It's a turkey.
The only thing that I wasn't going to put it in because obviously, do you say it's a wrestling gimmick or is it just a gimmick that's linked with wrestling because it's like
A mascot.
Well, it's like that Wildcat Willie 8 in WCW. Was that what the fuck?
Oh, the thing at the top of the stage.
Yeah, the what was
Well,
I don't
at
know
least
what
he was
animal
a
it
bit
was.
more-
It's dressed as Macho Man.
And
It's just
arguably-
like a mascot.
Yeah.
Like the
arguably
Boiler Man.
there's
you know,
very
yeah.
it's quite a nice match because he hatched from an egg and he hatched from a crypt at the end of a Kiss concert, and both of them caused apathy and hatred from the fans. One of them got a main event, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with him just because Gene Simmons is a cock. So yeah, it's just yeah.
I think I am gonna make it pretty easy and go for Kiss Demon as well because I think as much as the gobbledygook is only really annoying because of how it debuted. If it just was around and Vince sort of
Oh,
said,
there's a turkey at Vincent! Will you stop?
I think people would have just accepted it for the kids, but
It's just a turkey, though. I mean, there's
it's
no,
pretty awful.
no gimmick to it. It's a turkey.
Would you have gone for
No,
the
you go
Gooker?
for the Gooker.
You'd have gone for the Gooker?
Yeah. Hey, no, it didn't.
I think it was
kiss.
more like
I
a
kiss.
mascot. It was more of a mascot than.
Yeah, but the Kiss Demon is shit. But,
Yeah, it is.
well, if it was just called The Demon, you'd have probably
I
forgiven it.
think he is it now. He still wrestles, isn't
He was in Impact
Uh-huh.
last year.
You know, the top half is going to be tough when I look at it because the next one, I think I know who was going to win it, but it's because I was rushing to get the 30-second because I'd realised that I'd actually put the person they're fighting in the list twice. It's
Oh,
that
dear.
bad.
Same
So
with it.
it's the Phantoms from Halloween Havoc 1991, which are basically masked ghoulies that can only exist for
Yeah.
one pay-per-view.
And then that come out after the match that they built up,
Yeah.
for the pay-per-view, which was the first match.
But they am facing the Yeti. Which
Oh.
it is. I mean, Jesus, is this the Real Madrid of the
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely putting Yeti as much as the
Yeah.
Phantoms was
Yeah,
annoying.
just because of the build.
Well, he carried on. He
Yeah,
became a ninja.
How do you?
You unwrapped him, and he
it was
a
meant
ninja.
to be John Gonzalez. Wasn't it?
He come from ice.
Is that what it was?
That's why. But when he couldn't turn up, that's why they made it a mummy, so they could unwrap him and turn out to be John Gonzalez. Because obviously, I think he was just going to wear the same suit and call him a Yeti. That's why he was called the Yeti. But they were still going to have Ron Reese as another giant in the World War III. But when obviously Gonzalez couldn't come out, that's when they turned him into the Super Giant Ninja. But still called the Yeti.
Giant
And
Ninja.
Hogan was the other giant in the ring.
The Yeti we saw
Yeah.
his match, and we saw the Supergiant Ninja 1 match. So if he wins, it'll have to be the runner-up that we do the podcast
Yeah.
on, unfortunately. But you want to talk about seasonal gimmicks?
Oh, he's Santa.
Here he comes. We have done him as well, but it's Santa Claus
Yeah,
Christmas for Christmas
Oh, okay.
versus the Flying Nuns, which was again. Chaz has appeared twice here.
Mosh again.
Oh, full watch.
But basically, they did have matches and they were going to bring them in as the Flying
Yeah,
Nuns.
there
They're
was
just
There was
basically
that shotgun
cross-dressing
all the time,
Yeah, it was,
men, weren't they?
it was just because they went to an actual like church and stuff there. They nearly got arrested apparently for.
Go on,
Yeah.
Jeff.
What Vince will do just for an awful gimmick.
It's hard to believe that,
Brother Love managed him.
could you have got more legs, though, out of Santa Claus? Because, it's very seasonal.
It's from the South Pole. You hear that?
$1 million
Fuck
man
me now.
paying off Santa.
Who the fuck wrote that? I'm gonna go for Santa Claus because I just what are we supposed to do? I mean, who's he gonna feud with?
What you got to do in
Different
April with Santa
Christmas.
Claus at Mania?
Well, he debuted like
No, I think he
after
did.
Christmas.
I think he only appeared like either on Christmas Day or Boxing Day, and then he never.
It was the pay-per-view before. It was in December, I think,
Yeah.
or early part of December. But, yeah, I mean, well...
Santa Claus.
You
You can either be evil Santa or balls.
Well, I know which one was better. I'm gonna go for Santa Claus.
Yeah, it's got to be Santa because I mean, what can you do? I mean, at least with nuns you can just.
At least the nun is all year round.
Not seasonal.
It's not just for Christmas.
That's what they probably do.
Not just for Christmas.
But then again, I
That's the
suppose
start.
turkeys you can have all year round, but if you link it on Thanksgiving, it's like Jesus Christ, what are you going to do?
I think you're overthinking this.
Santa versus Gobbledygook. That's what they do.
Yeah. Well,
November,
he's out. The
December.
Gook is out. Next match is Aldo Montoya. Quality wrestler,
No
by
one
all
knows what
means.
it is.
What the hell? Why is he a jellyfish?
He's jellyfish with a jockstrap.
Versus Bastion Booger.
It
Which-
just looks like
Fat man
it
in
sticks.
It
fat
just
man in a dirty gimp outfit. Jesus Christ, I'll go with Booger.
I realised I didn't actually put Booger in there. That's part of the reason why I'm doing it, because it was Fry Ferguson, but I'm changing Fry Ferguson if I don't put Booger in there, because Booger's much worse.
I don't know, the Fry Ferguson, that was
Yeah, but I mean-
Catholic went, you can't have this.
Yeah, but we've just had Flying Nuns. I can't keep having bloody religious
Yeah.
games.
Let's just shit on the Christians.
So yeah, we got Bastion Booger, who I mean,
That was the reason they get him the gimmick, because
was
they
fat.
like he was fat, and they said that's it, we're punishing you now.
You
hired him as fat.
He
So
didn't get fat.
Well, he was really good warriors,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Norman the Lunatic, and I think Muckham Singh
Yeah,
in Canada. He was the middleweight champ for some reason. Of course, he'd been a middleweight in Canada,
But then,
But that's when Vince saw he was fat and went, right.
Do you think though, Bastion Booger, he probably made more money off that awful gimmick, and it is very well thought of.
15th anniversary, didn't he?
Whereas Aldo Montoya probably did much more damage to PJ Walker's career, really. And
Yeah.
so, but then gimmick-wise, if you're judging it on gimmick, I mean, fuck me. Are you saying you're going for Booger?
I'm going for Booger because I think that's his legacy.
Well, I'm going to go for Aldo because, I mean, well, what is he? Why is he Portuguese? He ain't Portuguese.
I think he is part Portuguese, and initially they wanted to make him like a footballer. That was the thing because
it's football crazy.
No, he was going to kick football. Again, he's going to kick a football at the opponent. No, he didn't agree with that. Was the thing because they found out he was Portuguese, so the creative said, "Okay, we can because he's Portuguese. He liked football now," and that's when Vince said, "Does he like football? Do you know if he plays football?" And I went, "No." And he goes, "Why are we making him a footballer?"
Soccer.
Oh yeah, so we'll just make him a jellyfish.
He's Portuguese.
He could have stood on the apron and threw a ball in.
Ronaldo? Did he? What Ronaldo is a wrestler would be?
Aldo Montoya is worse for me because Booger is fat. So
one's a punish, but the other one's Vince making it better than being a footballer.
And he probably does.
You don't like football.
I think I'm going to go with Booger purely on the basis that I feel if you're talking worst gimmicks, most people will think of Booger before they'll think of Montoya.
I'm going to say Montoya just kind of...
No, it is a bad gimmick. It is fucking bad. But I think
it's trying to turn him in.
I think because he is and also as well, I think at the time I can understand that Montoya would have been brought in as a lower level. I could say in 1993 that Booger probably had more upstart when you bought him in.
Who was going to fight Luger?
I think he did. I think Luger did fight Booger on the show.
Unfortunately, you ain't putting Brett versus Booger on SummerSlam.
I'm going to let Booger win now so we can do it.
Yeah. Right. No, the bottom half now, we've got the wrestling bin man. It's Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
There's a lot of 94, 95 here.
Well, don't worry, we're going back to 91. We have already done him, but it's Oz, and he's got to appear because he's fucking Oz. For Christ's sake.
Yeah, but he did have that little sweet moment with Liger.
Could you argue?
The cradle in a
I think I'm going to say, because you could have done more with Oz. I know they didn't, and they went fucking silly, and they're getting a silly mask and stuff. But the idea of Oz being this sort of powerful entity, the moment you put someone in the middle of someone's name as Dumpster, I don't quite know how you could ever.
One of his vignettes, he slept in a bin.
Yeah,
in a bin lorry.
I don't quite know how you could ever make him anything other than very low, lovable.
He did throw a bin over an house into a big dumpster. That was one of his vignettes.
Well, I reckon Oz could probably have done that. And he was a good worker. He did have some good matches. But I think in terms of gimmick, saddling someone with a gimmick that was dead on arrival.
Who got out of the gimmick better? Kevin Nash or Duke Rosie?
I'm going for Duke anyway.
So I'm going for Oz.
You
come out in an old man's head.
If you're judging it based on that, it was fucking awful.
What we doing?
But I just think it's all good and well saying that, but you tell me when how are you ever going to make money with WrestleMania head like Brett versus Dumpster?
Some gimmicks are purely just for and he's just a lovable. The kids will like.
Yeah.
Kids like bins.
He's the bushwhacker.
Kids like bin men.
Kids love the bin men. Look at
I've got to go with Duke.
Oh, fuck. They can all knock it through.
Look, they're all shit. Look, we've realised all 32 are shit.
Yeah, they're all shit.
They're all
not honestly. They're all awful.
He's worse than a bin man. Bin men exist. Oz doesn't. Remember that.
Well, I think the fact that it's mythical and stuff, you could have done more.
Yeah, you could have done that and everything.
I think they did do it badly. But it's
the execution. How can you make a bin man any better?
Who did he fight in his first match? The Arachna Man.
He fought. He was one of them. Yeah, and they
He fought
was
what's
Scott.
his name with the big bouncy ball on his
No, that was his
I know
first
about
match,
Bill.
but he
But Halloween, I think, were it out bread.
it might have been. It was
He
a
was
job.
one of the or Tom Zenk
I'm
was
correct, no man.
Our next match is Battle Cat because he's a cat versus the Executioner because they basically just shoved a black hood on Terry Gordy's head.
Well, because he'd had the thing on the plane day, and that was where it might have been sort of saying, well, I don't want Terry Gordy to be shit, so let's put him under a mask. So
Well,
at least it protects him.
Everyone would know who he is.
You could have not booked him. I mean,
You could have just used some developmental bloke. What was his name in UWF? The Black Cat.
it was Firecat.
Firecat?
In UWF,
Not Thundercat.
it was Firecat. I mean, he was lumbered with the cat element.
I think you can do more with an executioner gimmick than a wrestling cat. Well, he's just got a cat head.
He's not even that sort of scary of a cat, is he? He's not like a big old lion man.
He's a lovable cat.
He's going to pet him.
The wrestling cat is a nice cat. The minister's cat is a naughty cat. I'm going to go battle cat.
Why didn't Vince just like
Put
get
it
a, someone just throw a ball of yarn or like get a little
they had he's a pounded shot of light and they rolled him up.
I mean, I'm going for the cat.
I'm going to go for the
Battle
cat.
Cat is awful.
I want to see that now. The laser pen and someone rolls him up.
Vince is getting an odd cat.
I mean, he's appeared now anyway. Oh god, we've lost them.
How long? Oh, Battle Cat.
There's some beasts coming up now.
Oh dear.
We got
Is that the
yeah.
proper beast?
95, 96 here.
Oh Jesus.
It's Fantasio.
Yeah.
We've done him.
Yep, the wrestling magician versus Mantar
Oh well.
because he's a wrestling
He's half a
bull.
bull.
He is a
Well,
bull. But
I mean, until he gets in the ring.
But again, if I'm being honest to what I said earlier about Oz, couldn't you argue both of them have got enough about them? Because isn't there a wrestling bull in NWA at the moment? Or TNA?
There's a wrestling gimp.
No, there's...
Black Taurus.
Yeah, Black Taurus, so they could have...
But it wore 10 foot. You can't get in the ring with
But,
it.
there was the
chest.
I think even NASA, what was it, an old wrestler before, was it Moose Chudlak, who did come out with a big moose head?
Yeah.
So, like, you kind of get that. And there is actually a wrestling magician in NWA.
But, in fairness, exactly, this is what I'm saying. So I think the gimmicks have been proven that they could have been done better. But in true WWE style, they did them both terribly. And they made Fantasio steal the pants of the ref, and they made Mantar actually act like an animal. So it's an open decision.
Rock, so
He did.
Tell me.
Who are you picking?
I'm going on Mantar.
Who got on Young Rock?
Mantar. They did. They had like the match of the bull.
Oh, fuck it.
They highlight
it, yeah.
Mankind, Taker, Austin, Triple H, and Mantar in that locker room.
Fucking hell, Jesus.
It's basically to show that wrestling's mad. You assume you pick Mantar.
Oh yeah, Mantar.
Yeah, I think he's got to be.
He's a half man, half bull.
I mean, the magician could have worked, but I think you can do a bit more sinister than.
Yeah.
You know.
Even as bad as it was when in Execution, I still think they just sort of get up on him, don't they? But I still think even as that character, he could have had a little mini feud.
He could have done something.
Mantar, fuck me. Right, the next match. It's TL Hopper, who is a wrestling plumber, versus who?
Who?
Hey, Vince is onto something here. Look, it's worked.
Who?
He's versus who? Which is Jim.
Where do you go with these?
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
So the commentators can make a joke.
He eats turds.
He didn't.
He might have.
He had a turd.
I thought it was a turd, but it turned out to be a chocolate bar.
I thought it was a turd.
It looked like, what is it, the toffee crisp, the lumpy one? There in the bottom.
He eats shit. He just looks like
To be honest, if you ask for a plumber to come and fix your toilet and
And
he
he
ended
ate
up
shit.
eating your shit, you would probably not call him again.
Well, as long as
But then-
it was clear.
But then,
As long as it was solid.
I mean, on that basis alone, you would think that there's no hope for TL Hopper. But he was played by Dirty White Boy, who was supposed to be quite a good wrestler.
Yeah, for Smoky Mountain. And then you had Jim Neidhart.
Jim Neidhart, who was, in decent shape as who, for Jim, anyway.
For Jim.
But how do you possibly book who? I don't. But then
It's
how do you possibly book a plumber?
I'm picking who because it's purely based on a 90. Again, this is how in depth with reality and the times of NTs. Of a comedy skit that was probably from the 1930s.
Oh god, yeah. Now the kids will love this.
Yeah. Who's
pal?
first? Who's this?
How long did it last?
That match.
One match. Because of that, I'm going to pick
Or two.
TL Hopper because
I know
I
he
think
fought Savio.
at least WWE recognised that Who was just a one and done gimmick, whereas they at least kept putting TL Hopper out there to lose. Admittedly, I think TL Hopper's worse than Who, and I think you could, even though I know it was Gaga, you could have played off on the Who is Who kind of thing. So at least there's a. If I'm trying to rebook either of them, I know which one's easier.
It's got to be
rebook.
Anvil though. He's got a big ginger
Well, admit it's Anvil in it. It's Anvil. Is that racist from Smoking whatever it was?
NWF
Yeah.
or something like that.
So I'm going for TL Hopper. So it's 1-1, Jack.
I'm going to go for TL as well. No, all right.
What was the TL? What did the TL stand for? Do we know?
Toilet.
You're taking the big noise.
That's brilliant. If it was,
That's
Well,
probably true.
that is brilliant. Though if his first name was Toy and his middle name was Lex.
Toy Hopper.
Oh, brilliant.
Toilet hopper. I'll do each toilet every shit.
That's probably right. Probably
I'm
right.
going to work for the WF.
Fucking hell.
I hop onto each toilet.
Vince hears this podcast. You're getting a fucking raise.
I don't know. I don't think he'll be hearing this. Tell me what he's doing.
It'll be an NXT 2.0.
Next match then, it's Meat. George Stasiak as a sex slave to PMS
Terry and the other one.
versus the Techno Team 2000, which seems like a very limited gimmick.
It
The
was
fact that it came in 96, was it something like that?
95, 96.
He only had 4
Watts-
years best.
It's basically Bill Watts is here. He wants his son to have a job. Here it is.
So then legitimately was from the future. That was the gimmick. That was the gimmick. They were from the future.
Yeah, from the year 2000.
future.
Yeah, in the future we will have shit. But by the way, it's not even the far future. It's just in a few
4
years.
years.
4 years time. Eric Watts is your main wrestler. He's come back to sort it
A
out.
state of wrestling in 5 years.
But then again, Meat. I mean, how can he possibly get over when he's basically a wrestling valet?
Well, he's there to get the women over. Isn't he?
Yeah. So
And that's why they say he lost a lot of matches because he was shagged out.
yeah,
Is that what they
that
said?
was the
That was
idea.
what
He was
the
constantly,
gimmick
he was tired.
Constantly naked because he's always
He's always shagged.
Oh God, what a gimmick! Techno 2000 is going through though.
Oh, by mile.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
no doubt.
I mean,
That's the worst from the future
anything
gimmick I've
before-
ever heard.
yeah, it's like 2000 seemed like to be this futuristic crowd thing, and when you look back, it's like nothing.
But I wouldn't
changed.
mind that if you was doing it in 85. But I mean, if you're doing it in 95,
Well, you know,
5 years time,
96,
I think even in
how much
95,
do you think
96.
changed? You mean 4
That's
years?
what I mean, yeah.
Really?
Moby was Moby over though at that point? 'Cause he was techno, or so maybe they got it right.
That's true, yeah. Well, fucking
Moby
He's
had
still
it.
going through.
He had a year day when he was over.
Well,
No,
talk about futuristic weird gimmicks.
Right.
Obviously, it's Spooterman himself. It's
Max Moon.
Maximus
Yes.
Moon versus
From
now.
the moon.
Now you need to explain this to me. It's the Stalker, obviously. Max Moon versus the Stalker. So you got Barry Windham.
That's a big one.
We're gonna make
Conan.
Yeah, Barry
Paul
Windham
Diamond.
versus Conan. So you've got Barry Windham, and you're gonna just making a Stalker.
I think it was because he said he liked hunting.
And he also made it out on
Yeah, he
Young Rock
was
as well.
on Young Rock.
But you're also going to make him face. So at least with Max Moon, he's obviously going to be face. He's got a fucking spooter.
Yeah, and he's got a jetpack where he jumps.
I can't help but feel the Stalker is a misplaced
Name
for
have a
a
better
face.
name. Than
Yeah.
I assume
the
it was one
Hunter.
of these where Vince.
probably a
Yeah,
Hunter herself.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's one of these where Vince said to Wyndham, "What do you like to do?" He says,
Yeah.
"I like to hunt." He
Hunt
says,
and
"We'll make you a
fish,
stalker,"
yeah,
and he was
you're
like,
a
"Hang on."
stalker.
Oh, they're attached. They're going to paint me face.
Yeah.
It's
Why would
basically Wyndham didn't care at this point.
And what we're going to do is we're going to paint your face, but put you in a WWF shirt.
Look really out of
Sell
shape.
the
Zoo bars.
He looks like he's going to bed, though. He looks like he's woke up in his
It's like
pajamas.
one of them Poundland wrestlers at the back.
But Max Moon, I mean, how can he get over? Like, when are you going to have
That
a
was Conan the
situation?
Gimmick War.
But
And
how
then
you ever
he
gonna
left and kept the boots?
But then
And
is
it
the
costs
stalker
so
going to get
much.
over? I don't know. So,
I think
yeah.
Max Moon's got more upside purely because, it will resonate with kids and sell.
But his name's Max Moon and he's from Uranus,
Well, I would think.
not the moon.
I'm going to go with the Stalker. It's just crap. I mean, like, what the
And
fuck
it should
are
be
you
a heel gimmick.
Are you good with
He's
the
a
stalker?
stalker. Yeah, it's a stalker.
doing? Just the look is awful.
Oh, it's so
who-
bad.
And Max Moon got an heart attack.
He got all these art
On
departments.
Heart Attack, he had a picture, and it was like to do something with him, and it was a picture of Max Moon.
It's fucking amazing.
Neil Buchanan, big Max Moon fan.
He would have picked the stalker as well. Last two
Don't be
matches then
sad,
of the opening round, and we've got the Truth Commission because they're racist. South African
And
militants.
Ben's Bad Tar was in it.
Yes, he was. Versus someone who we've already seen, Avatar. Because
the reverse Power Ranger.
I don't really
Well, the
understand
Power
Avatar.
Ranger.
He comes out in a mask and takes it off.
Yeah.
He come out with Artie's mask and then put it on to wrestling.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, that's it.
It was
Yeah.
Power Rangers, that's what he said. That's what they were going on.
Or a karate fighter.
Karate
Yeah,
Fight,
karate
Power Rangers,
fighters.
Warriors,
So
Morphin'
he was
Time.
basically morphed into Avatar.
Yeah.
But he don't really do anything. You just put it on. You don't like do a rah, boof, and then I'm now like
He's
Taz
just-
coming out for
Yeah.
Joe. I've powered up.
Like the
You
Killer
just put
Bees.
it on.
Like the Killer Bees when they wore their masks and their
Yeah.
power up.
But
But-
then again, who cares about the South Africa? What the fuck?
Yeah, I
think
mean,
it's
that's
just
the
because
issue I've
you
got.
had the DOA, you had the Bariquas, you had the Nation, you had the Horse, you had Diet, and then you've got, and it's basically the bloke who was the commander, the first one. He was an actor who was friends with Brett, but then they fired him because he couldn't take bumps. So that's why they had the Jackal after.
I just think, yeah,
It was pointless.
I'm
Although
talking
it
about
was
the
South
Truth
African,
Commission at the
but-
start. It was really
Yeah.
poor. And I don't even think they did a good job of getting over the obvious star of the group, which was Kurgan, because it just sort of,
Sidewalk slam.
if anything, it derailed what you could have done with Kurgan,
Yeah,
lumbering
brought
him
him
with
in as
this.
a big
Whereas at least with Avatar, he went on to do better.
Shinobi.
Yeah, he became
Shinobi and
Shinobi.
Elf now.
And I think you could have done more with Avatar if you'd have actually pushed the gimmick more so than it
It's a
did.
nice look,
Mm.
the attire and everything.
He got on board.
I just can't see
I
if
don't
you
know what
ever
it is.
if you book a South African militant group at a time where there's loads of groups, it's never going to be the main group ever.
Yeah, no one's
Ever.
gonna care, are they?
So for me, it's the Truth Commission
Yeah, it's Truth Commission.
I'd probably just go for the Truth Commission as well.
because they are a big old.
Just
dirty
because
racist
Avatar's
group.
got a nice attire.
He did have a nice attire.
And he's, Al Snow was a good worker and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've seen Al
Paul
Snow
Buchanan
versus-
And we've done that match. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And rounding us off, it is on strike Abe Knuckleball Swartz
Yes, here we go.
versus busting through that wall.
Oh, no.
Oh,
it is
the Shock.
the Shock
Was that the 90s?
Master. It was, yeah, 93.
93. Both of them was 93.
Yeah. So you've got repackaged Brooklyn Brawler as a
baseball.
baseball.
Baseball's on strike. Let's take the
Baseball player with a baseball head.
Shove a stormtrooper hat on and not really explain why is he wearing what is
Why
a
are
Shock
you?
Master.
Yeah.
At least
then
you
that
know
made
with
him a
At least you know with Abe,
Yeah.
he is something to do with baseball.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Shockmaster because what is he? Because then they made him like a clumsy fucking
Builder,
what is it,
or-
builder, and then they come out with Super Shockmaster where he had another mess where he said Shockmaster was his uncle. So they tried it
Fucking
again.
hell.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he only had one match. And he fought one of the Kongs on the.
But couldn't you
Clash of
argue,
Champions.
even though with
There's the more-
Shockmaster,
the more-
without understanding what a Shockmaster is, at least you could, and he was,
If he
in a
didn't
main
trip.
event. And if he didn't trip, he could have got further, even if we would have all been
It was
confused
As to what it is.
what he was. When are you ever going to push a baseball? A man dressed as a baseball?
Just when it's on strike.
I'm going to go to you first, just in case you make it easy for me.
Well, who have you gone for? Shockmaster.
Shockmaster.
I'll go for Abe, purely because I do think that Shockmaster, the master of the shock, if he didn't trip, I'd still be like, well, what are you? And how can you wrestle with that? It's obviously going to fall off. But at least they could have explained and built a gimmick. And I would have liked to have seen what the plan was if he didn't trip. Because it wasn't
That's
to make
true.
him a bumbler.
Was he going to fight in that mask?
That's the thing, like,
what is he?
if he's going to do an avatar, well, not avatar.
Why did he have
if
a
he's gonna
furry
just take
jacket?
it off, and it's just Typhoon in jeans or whatever? It's like, well, what's that?
What is it? What is the gimmick?
I'd like to have seen what the plan was there.
Yeah, that
I'm
makes
sure
sense.
it was awful, but
On the basis that I'm going to just agree with you, Jack. On the basis I think there's more
legs.
you could do with Shockmaster. I'm going to put through Abe. But I can absolutely assure you, we will be doing a Shockmaster podcast.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
there's no doubt about it.
Just Shockmaster. Because
Well-
we got to do the Super Shockmaster.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. All
the
his
career of shock. Not Typhoon and
the
Thomas.
career of shock.
This is the shock.
So we're on to our second round then, and opening it. It's Damien Demento versus Isaac Yankem. Dentist versus Madman.
I'm gonna go for the Yank.
Yank versus.
They're both Yanks, but I'm gonna go for Yank.
I'm going to go with go on.
I was going to go with Demento.
Well, I'm going to go with Yankem because I think you could have done more with Damien Demento.
I don't know what he is.
I don't know what he is. At least you do know that he is a dentist.
Yeah.
But then he's a dentist. I mean,
Yeah.
what?
You can have a few with people with nice teeth.
That's true.
Actually, yeah.
Or bad teeth. I don't
Yeah,
know.
not Nick Gage.
Nick Gage.
Nick Gage is fucked.
I can't be with you, mate.
Next match then is the Booty Man, who I didn't expect to get through, versus Beaver Cleavage.
Oh,
I
God.
did.
Oh, I
One obsessed with his mother's tits, the other one obsessed with his own heart.
think Rich is worse.
Your own heart to your mother's tits. Oh,
That would have been the name of the Taskmaster episode.
Jesus.
This was the Taskmaster. Well, I'm going to go for Beaver Cleavage.
yeah, I'll go with Beaver Cleavage.
So
Much as I had the booty, man, I've got to sicken myself.
I can't understand how, at a time where, everything
Fucking
was...
Russo again.
There was loads of
Damn
gimmicks dotted around. You couldn't
Ow.
do something better.
With Bosch.
Next match then, Kiss Demon versus the Yeti. I'm going to go with the Yeti.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
I thought it was obviously
It would have been
nailed on.
nice to see, would they have made the suit like white with like fur for Gonzalez?
I don't know.
Oh, that would've been
And then he's got his Argentinian head.
Big head.
About to paint his head.
What?
Something looks weird here.
Spray your hair white.
And
Or he
then
wore like a big helmet. or
they
something.
could have done so
Like
much. couldn't
Ming, when he had that weird thing on his head.
The dragon.
Yeah,
yeah.
the dragon, he had done something like that.
I'm reading it out. Santa Claus versus Bastion Booger.
Oh.
It's bugger because what can you do with Xanta
I'm gonna go
other
with-
for the rest for the other 11 months of the year?
So who are you putting through
Bugger.
as the worst gimmick?
Oh no, sorry, Xanta. That's it. Yeah, I got it the wrong way around. Xanta, because what can you do? He's just a fat man.
See, Booger's,
Everybody's fat all year
Booger's
round.
bad, but is it worse to be bad all year round or just in December?
I think
Yeah,
because
this is very confusing. This
I think because it was obviously a one and done gimmick. I think I'm going to go with Booger because at least with Xanta it was in and out. It was done. It was like, oh, we just need someone to take a fall to Savio, although they didn't.
I'm going to say that you win.
Yeah, he won his match and that was it. But at least it put over $1 Million Man because he's a
Did he?
nasty. Well, he
You've got all
he
this
ruined
money and you
Christmas.
signed him.
He ruined
He
Christmas.
ruined
He
Christmas.
bought Santa.
He bought Santa.
Make your kids cry.
So at least I know it's cartoony,
South
but
Pole.
no one benefited from Bastion Booger. At least Santa Claus,
What
you could
about-
say, put over
Yeah,
Ted.
but
Well, you can make the decision, Jack,
Still
because
got gifts of him doing his little dance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would you want him on top of you?
Purely because Santa Claus is 1 month and Bugger is all year round. I'll go for Bugger.
Good old Bugger.
Because it's like with Who, at least Who only lasted.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
got
you got
It is still bad.
You got to look at the whole year.
Which might make the next question quite easy then, because you got Duke the Dumpster Drowsy versus One and Done Battle Cat. Because I think he was only there he did sort of dot around, but he never appeared on
Yeah, he was just appearing.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the Battle Cat.
It is terrible.
What makes him a Battle Cat?
I trust bin men over cats.
Cats? That'd be good for you. That cats hang around bins.
Yeah, ripping the bloody bags
Or would
out
that be
causing rats?
The cat
They cause rats.
We didn't have a rat. So we got the Battle Cat going
He
through.
was in the 2000 Rumble, the rat was.
Apparently.
That's what
Good
I said.
to teletext.
I think I'm going to put Battle Cat through as well, because Battle Cat's a terrible gimmick. And he carried it on with the cat gimmick through.
Yeah, and what cat do you know?
At
That's
least
orange.
Duke the Drowsy, as soon as he's fucking dropped Vince, he's off, fucking being a bin man again.
I'll go back on the.
Oh god, this is fucking mega. It's Mantar versus TL Hopper. Fucking hell. You got a bull
I'm going to go with
versus
toilets.
You're going for the toilet
No,
over
I'm
the
going
bull?
for the
I'm going to go for the bull.
I'm going for the bull and all. Purely on how they... Oh god, he did eat shit though, did he? He did eat that shit.
It wore a bullshit though.
I think... Oh god, it is bad though. I'm going to go for Mantar because that was my instinct, but to be honest, both of that should have been the final.
If you just round them down, a plumber or a man who's half a bull for
you know, I would still argue. Well, I've scribbled him out now, so he's out. But in terms of rebooking, because of the Taurus thing, because of the bull, you could change everything that Vince did with it and make it better. I don't know how.
Bottom half as the bull.
Don't know, but I don't know how I would have booked Taylor.
Dusty was a plumber on one thing.
Like Mataro, would you have had like the pantomime?
Oh, that would have been brilliant.
Behind.
Shoved that on the back end of the book.
You know that'd be Lombardi.
I want to see that. Hey? It would have been Pat. I know that would.
I'd have loved it if they did that in one of the shows.
I just hope that he wins,
More
because you can rebook it like this. The bottom quarter then is Techno Team 2000. Fucking hell. I mean, that is a sleeper rate, really. Versus the Stalker, who... God, either of these are pretty bad. I think I'm going to go for Techno Team 2000 because... Okay, they ruined the Stalker. It was terrible. But I can't understand how they honestly thought there was legs in the Techno Team 2000, and also they were played by two people that couldn't even get that gimmick over if they tried.
Well, they ain't very good either.
So,
I mean, Eric what?
Eric and Ernie. So, I'm going for Techno Team 2000.
I'm going to go for the Stalker. Purely because the look was so bad.
It was bad. I mean, it ain't even a very good looking Stalker. At least Techno Team 2000 is kind of like sci-fi-esque.
Yeah.
It might be Z-list.
It's like a 1950s idea of what the
B-movie.
But they were awful.
That was awful, but I'm going to go with the Stalker because how can you make a Stalker a face?
Well,
with that mustache?
Did he ever have a feud?
Hunter, or are you going to feud with Hunter?
I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
But yeah, it's just... Yeah,
that's the end of that.
How can you make the Stalker a face?
And the last match in the second round is the Truth Commission versus the Baseball Man. It's Abe Knuckleball Schwartz versus the Truth Commission.
I'm going to go with Abe.
I love the fact that he's called Abe.
I'm going to go with the Truth Commission.
I'm going to go with the Truth Commission as well.
Why did they call him Abe?
I don't know.
Knuckleball Schwartz.
Maybe there was a baseball player called Abe or something at the time. That was
the Babe or the Babe.
Oh, Babe.
The
maybe. Maybe that was what it was.
Hello.
So they called him the Abe.
The Abe.
Maybe somebody who played Abe Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would have been a really good gimmick if it had turned into that. Quarterfinals then.
I'm sure about that.
It's Isaac Yankem versus Beaver Cleavage.
Beaver Cleavage.
But they also.
I'm putting him through.
I'm going to put Beaver Cleavage too as well because it is much more offensive than Isaac Yankem. But would you have picked?
Manky T on those tits
just
again.
Just
Think
about.
about it.
This is again. You could use the same logic as you did to knock out Santa Claus in that you've got Bastion Booger versus the Yeti.
Mm.
Ooh.
What's more offensive? The fact that Yeti appeared in buttfuck toga. Or the fact that Bastion Booger.
I think that might be the stuff.
Or the fact that Bastion Booger sat on the face of 4 jobber wrestlers for a year.
And crushed and Janetti, but Janetti sold it.
And Luna, I think.
Oh, well.
I'm going to go for Booger purely on the basis he'll make a better podcast, if I'm honest. But
Yeah, I'm going to go
Yeah, we could have. I think I'd go with Booger.
We can't rig it. We can choose to do him anyway.
don't worry, I think he'll go out next round.
Oh, yes, he will.
But I'd give it the Yeti.
And bottom half then, oh god, it's Cat versus Bull. it's Battle Cat versus Mantar.
Which
Well,
lasted
I
long.
think the fact that Mantar's bull head is obscenely larger than Battle Cat's mask of a cat, I would go with
You
Mantar.
obsessed with his bullet.
Well, it's just,
It
that is the
awful.
gimmick.
The moment you see
And the
him,
minute he takes it off and he gets in the ring and it's just a bald
A Greek man with
painted
painted-
eyes, it's like, well, what the fuck? Oh, I better go, ooh!
and he did just spend most of In Your House 2 just grunting out.
Yeah.
Was he on in your house too?
He was one of the lumberjacks just
Oh.
sort of mooing.
I thought you
Did he have
meant
his helmet?
No,
You
should have even said
he
about
kept his helmet on.
he should have just shat everywhere.
Mantar.
Yeah, I think the Mantar's going to go.
Yeah,
Battle
Battle Cat
further than I thought.
Yeah, he did. He caught finalist Battle Cat. And then the final bottom beat 97. Yeah, it's the Stalker versus the Truth Commission.
Mm.
God.
I'm going to go for the Stalker because I think at least the Truth Commission looked like they were supposed to look. No one can tell me a Stalker should look. Mind you, a Stalker in the sense of what Vince wasn't trying for might look like that.
if you're hunting and you see that, you think, well,
The fuck is that?
you're not fooling anyone.
Why you got to do it?
Fill the fucking
And also, as well, I still think even at that stage of his career, there was more money in Barry Windham. You left it on the table, whereas the Truth Commission, even with my argument about Kurgan, the rest of them are dead anyway. So I'm going.
One of them's your mate.
Yeah, Bull, you get it.
Well, yeah,
He's
actually,
sniper.
don't
He's
make me
sniper.
change my mind.
I'm going to go with the Stalker.
I'll go with the Stalker because, again, how can you make a Stalker a face?
Well, it's just the
Yeah,
name.
the fact that he was
The
a
name
face
is
as well.
It's the name. If he
Yeah.
was called the Hunter,
No one. How can
I
no
could've
one
gone
have
away
said?
a tiny bit
Well,
more.
one of his promos where he come out like a pond and stuff. Do you think
That's
Skinner was
Skinner.
next to him?
Alright.
Hang on a minute.
I've
He
done
was
this,
hiding
mate.
behind a tree, I think.
What, like
That'll be fun
Like
to
smoke.
watch.
yeah, smoking Mortal Kombat too?
Well, the good thing is our semi-finalists all haven't had a podcast, so whoever
Oh.
wins from here.
Hooray.
Our top half is Beaver Cleavage versus Bastion
That's an
Booger.
easy one.
Do you need to ask me? Is Beaver Cleavage?
Yeah, I'd probably go for Beaver Cleavage.
Yeah, so would I. As well,
Just
to be
because
honest.
of the
I just
time
wanted to
period
make
as
it
well. It's how like this come out in like 94, 95. This was 99.
Yeah, well, I think it fits more in 99 than 94.
Poor
It'd be
Beaver.
weird if we've got Cartoon Doink coming out and then here's Beaver Cleavage. I like my mum's cheese.
If it just meant it like a Leave It to Beaver thing, but the fact that they went the incest
I don't
angle,
even know
think
what
that
this
was-
Leave It to Beaver is. What,
It's,
is it a show? or
it's
something?
meant to be
It's like a
some-
Molly Connell shot.
Yeah.
Is it a real
man.
American show?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
a
meant
big
to be
show,
like
so-
The Big
what's
Show.
it called?
was
Like Sorry.
Big
He
Show!
played it.
It's like Sorry Ate the Ronnie Corbett
Yeah, yeah.
program where he was like 40-year-old still living with
I
his
don't
mother.
know what that is.
Don't
Yeah, but he's Molly
Get out,
Connell.
more.
He's Molly
Get
Connell.
out more because I don't watch Ronnie Corbin.
Well, bottom half, Mantar versus the Stalker. So what's
Got
worse?
The Yeti out. Bugger.
You thought
Too
the
rubbish.
Yeti was going to go far.
I thought he'd win.
Ben randomises who fights. So
Yeah, I got
that's my
Mantar versus
the
the
Stalker.
Stalker.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, these two are awful.
I think, yeah.
Well, I know there's more to do with a bull. Right.
But couldn't you argue if you got the Stalker as a heel and properly did it, and you maybe give him a
Cut
slightly
people
different
in the
name,
net.
and maybe there's that, because they have the Night Stalker as like these evil sort of murderer people. A lot of these sort of people get that sort of gimmick. So
Night Stalker was Adam Bomb.
yeah, but if you made it proper dark instead of just shoving him in some pajamas and painting his face
get it
and
that
then
bomb.
making him
If you had
face,
him like, properly laid traps for the faces.
but couldn't you say if you'd have played up on the Greek myth of the big Minotaur being the main centerpiece and the big beast and stuff, and didn't give him a silly head, he could have worked.
Don't give him a silly head.
You could argue both of the gimmicks could have worked,
Yeah,
but ultimately you've got to therefore judge it on what you got.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that I was at Mantar.
So basically, Jim Bowen is the thing. Look at what you could have had.
yeah. This is what Vince did you.
This is what you've got.
So you're going with
Take me the commercial break to book this gimmick.
You're going with a man bull. What are you going with?
I've got to go with the Stalker. Just because it's... What is it?
Oh, I don't know what to. I honestly, it's
It's
so
like
hard.
Spike Dudley if he actually was a bit taller. That's what the Stalker reminds me of.
Yeah, because we've tried.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to go with Mantor because
that's fair enough.
it's so close. There's a hair's breadth between them, but I am just going to go with Mantor.
Though I'll be in the final.
I don't know. I do.
I like that little pause. That's
Right.
definitely the
Our main event then is Beaver Cleavage versus Mantar. I think Sam's already, but he's started engraving it. He's doing the engraving now as he's working.
I don't care who wins. Fucking Beaver Cleavage. Come on.
Go do a podcast with him.
We can do one on Chaz Warrington though.
Is that his name?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Warrington.
I'm sure his name's Chaz Warrington.
Terrible name. I'm gonna go.
Hang on, Thrasher follows us. So there you go. We could say.
Go do Glenn Ross.
No, we can't do it because he was meant to be done.
Beaver Cleavage.
And so would I, unfortunately.
Be.
Purely because, like I say, I don't know, honestly, and we will have the task now.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Where would you go?
Well, that's the task that will be coming up on the bit, and that's the punishment for picking him as the worst gimmick ever. But it was pretty late as well in the 90s, which, of all the cack that was in the 90s,
it's even
right at the end of the 90s.
It's even like it's a new person. You're taking an old character of Mosh, well, an old person who's been on the show, and making him a lot worse.
And it's just because basically his tag partner got injured, so what can we do? Instead of just keeping him like they did with Thrasher later and have him on heat and just, fight or whatever, it's just okay, put a propeller on his head.
More like people was clamouring for Mosh to be on the show.
Exactly.
So therefore, the winner of the Wrestlecup for the worst gimmick in the 90s is Beaver Cleavage. And that means in the month of September, we will be doing a career retrospect on Chaz Warrington, but mainly focusing on the rebooking of Beaver Cleavage. Are you looking forward to the idea of rebooking that?
God,
I'm looking forward to watching a bit of Mosh.
Yeah, because I think it's a good. There's a lot to look forward to because you've got the nuns.
The nuns.
You've got
Headbanger, the nun, the Indian. The manifest,
the return,
and the wife beater.
The return.
Oh, and when they came back in
2016.
Could do that to round it off.
There's a lot.
Challenges of the universe.
Yeah. Did they ever appear on TNA or anything like that?
No, I don't think.
I don't know. I hope they did.
We might even be going into the realms of 2002 TNA or something. You never know.
Yeah.
He might have had a sneaky match here and there.
Oh God, can you imagine that? Jeez, them v the Johnsons.
Are we going to get your famous I always preferred Sags to I always preferred Thrasher?
I said this early on. I always preferred Thrasher because he was slightly better.
But there you have it, folks. The Wrestlecup for the 90s gimmick is going to Beaver Cleavage. But, yes, there is 32 more lurking from the year 2000 onwards. And my God, the list that I made
How
for
far
that,
into the 2000s have you gone?
up to today.
Up to now?
And there is a gimmick
me,
that
there's a
is
lot.
still on today that is appearing on that list, but I'll leave that
Ooh.
for another time and another place where we will dust
Is it
off.
a dinosaur?
Well, we will dust off the Wrestlecup again, and we will also be looking at the worst second generation superstars, the worst European champion of all time, worst WCW pay-per-view main event, and that is key as to why Hogan versus Warrior will not win that Wrestlecup.
Okay.
But
What about Kiss Demon? He was in the main event.
well, there you go. He might appear. You never know. We did watch that match. It was pretty awful.
Yes.
But there you have it, folks. That is the Wrestlecup done. Well done, and congratulations, if you want it, to Chaz Warrington and Beaver Cleavage. And we will be back with our Beaver Cleavage retrospect in September.
Great.
But that leaves me to say, from a regretful Sam Chance
Bye.
and a remorseful it wasn't the Yeti, Jack Chance.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, folks.
Jeez.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
I am a mountain. I am a tall tree. Oh,
This cereal sucks. I can't eat this. It's dry. Mom!
I am a river down in the valley. Oh, I am a vision, and I can see clearly. If anybody asks you who I am, it's just
Is this what Mother's little boy is looking for? Does Mother's little hairy beaver want some of Mother's milk?
I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. And I'm that
Hairy Beaver Cleavage. How did this
my
happen?
back's against the ropes. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest.
Well, I was on the swing set. I wanted to see how high I could go, you know, so I could reach up and touch the sky. And well, it didn't really work out the way I planned.
Down in the jungle, I am a marching band. I am the people. Oh, I am a helping hand. I am a hero.
Well, you just relax and let Mother take care of this split knee for you. We can't have a split beaver running around now, can we?
Tall, look 'em in the face and say, I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. And I'm that
Thanks, Mom. When it comes to working on your knees, my mom is the expert.
feel it. I'm the world's greatest. In the ring of life, I'll bring love. And the world will notice I'm king. Oh yeah. When all is darkest, I'll shine a light.
Gosh, Mom, your flapjacks look great.
Finding me. I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. And I'm that little bit of
Our little hairy beaver's all wet. Let me get that for you. That's better. Now we have a dry, clean hairy beaver.
Thanks, Mom. Nobody likes a sloppy beaver.